LaDerrick Perry is a musician and producer who's worked with artists like Alicia Keys, 112, and currently plays keys for Ms Lauryn Hill. In this conversation, we talk about his career, how he started, and what it's like playing for someone as legendary as Ms. Hill, as well as some of the specifics of like how often they rehearse and how many people are in their current touring band. Spoiler, the answer to both of those questions is a lot. Let's get right into it. Here's my conversation with LaDerrick Perry. I got a list of your credits that I want to move through, but let's start with what you're doing right now, because I know you're like in between tour legs with Lauryn Hill.
Yes, sir. So actually, we started I wouldn't say it's a tour. I would more so call it a run.
Okay,
like we're doing maybe like 2 shows a week. We started this in the top of May. And the last show is next week in New Orleans. So it's been like a good 2-month run happening.
Yeah.
But it's been sweet, man. Between that, I'm still doing live arrangements. I was able to arrange for this artist named Shadow Blow in DR. He did a performance on the Latin Music Awards maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
He blew it away, man. Like that performance was amazing. And between that, I've been doing some TV spot dates with this artist named Tusi.
Oh yes, I've seen that on your.
Yeah. We just did Good Morning America Monday, this past Monday, and then we did Fallon maybe a month ago. So he's been having a really good run.
Yeah.
So hopefully that turns into some other things and takes the band on tour, because he's going on tour, but I don't think he's having a band for this tour. But maybe the next tour will be on that one.
Gotcha. Nice. So you're busy right now, then?
Yeah, very busy, man. Between that, I'm a father as well. So me and my wife just had a baby maybe 3 months ago. So between all that, a new baby, then we already had a kid. So it's everything is all happening at the same time. But I love it. It's a blessing. You know, I'm able to work and still come home and be with my family, and you know, it's amazing, bro. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Let's start with Lauryn stuff, and then I know you got a extensive production and then live artists you worked with.
Yes, sir.
We'll get to all of that as well. But let's start with Lauryn. How did you get involved with her camp?
So, crazy thing. This is a crazy story, actually. So, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was playing a tribute to Mario Winans. They just did a tribute of all the music he wrote, and I was a part of the band. So, and this was at a small spot in Brooklyn called Milk River. It was a small lounge called Milk River. Maybe it seats 100 people tops. But her musical director was there that night.
Yeah.
And he came up to me after the show, was like, dude, I'm your biggest fan. I'm like, what? You're crazy, bro. All I did was play parts that night, dude. I was playing the parts of the song. I didn't do a solo. I didn't do a crazy riff, lines, or anything. I just played the parts. But he was like, what you did tonight is so rare in Brooklyn, because everybody wants to just showcase their ability and lines and craziness, but you played parts, and that's what impressed me.
Yeah.
So that later on led to him calling me to fill in for a rehearsal for Ms. Hill, maybe a year later. And since then, I was only supposed to be doing the rehearsals, and then she ended up putting me on the show. Yeah. And then I just kept getting called back for everything, and then it just turned into a family situation. And now we've been here maybe 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, very cool.
Going very strong with Ms. Hill.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
What is it like working with her? Because I mean, like, I just saw you guys did the Roots picnic, and I saw a clip. I don't know if it was from the actual show or it looked like it was like an after party where it was she did Killing Me Softly, and she but then she went right into the line, and it's like just immediately you're like, there she is.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was the after show. One of the band members, Dan, he has a situation called Shed some, I don't know the exact name of it, but he puts on events, and she came through to the event and blew it up. Like literally, I'm like, Dan, you're the man. First of all, because Miss Hill doesn't go anywhere. I
Yeah,
want y'all to understand like how huge that was. Like
yeah,
after a show, she goes back to her room and she, decompresses. But for that show, she actually came out to his event and made it a huge mark. And like, it was just amazing, man.
yeah,
She killed it that night
yeah. That's
at
awesome.
the show and at the after party too.
Yes, yeah, that's amazing. I was looking up your YouTube,
Yes,
and you
sir.
have a bunch of videos up there with a bunch of different artists you worked with.
Yes,
But
sir.
what I think is so interesting about them and so valuable, especially for other musicians, is it's like I mean, the cameras are on you, but it's
Yes,
very
sir.
much like your point of view because we can see you playing, and so it's valuable not only to be able to like see your hands and what you're playing, and
Got
it's
you.
unbelievable. But then also there's what some people don't realize, which is the talk back and the click happening.
Yes,
So
sir.
like it's a specific look into what it's like performing in that environment, not only with someone as big as Ms. Hill, but also
Yes,
in a
sir.
situation that is that level of production. So
Absolutely.
incredible stuff on your YouTube. I'm
Thank you,
definitely
man.
to that so people can check it out. But um, yeah, when you're performing with her, uh, what are some of your favorite moments, either in a show or like in a song? Does anything stick out to you as favorite musical moments working with her?
Well, just in general, I grew up listening to her music. So every song I hear, every song I play is a song I knew as a
Yeah,
child. So it's always a moment of bringing me back to, dude, you play for Lauryn Hill right now. Like I, I'm I'm cool with her, so I see her all the time. But in those moments, I'm playing these songs. I'm like, at 5 years old, I was listening to this on the radio. Like,
yeah, yeah,
so a lot of the songs we play just bring me back to those moments of just a very humbling moment of like, just look at where you are, man. Like that's a blessing. Like
yeah,
all of her music just brings me back to those times when I was younger, or hearing "Struggling My Pain" with his fingers. That's a classic. All these songs are classics, and to be able to play them live with her is just amazing. Or
yeah.
she'll call my like um oh yeah "Struggling My Pain" with his fingers. That song specifically, I play lead roles on that. So the
I
top.
saw this on your YouTube. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so she calls me out literally. She said, "Let's go, LaDerrick," and I mean, that's just amazing. That's just an amazing feeling just to hear her call me out each
Yeah,
show and be like, "Let's do it, like
yeah.
let's get
That's
it." Yeah, so that's amazing. That song specifically is a fun song.
yeah.
Yeah,
I love all of the like the reharm stuff because I was just watching your YouTube
yes,
and
sir.
that song specific. I think you were in Brazil.
Yeah,
Um, incredible.
thank you, man.
It's like it's so tasty. It's amazing,
Thank you,
and
man.
it enhances the whole thing and makes it like the songs that like you're saying, the songs that you know and love, it like brings new life into them. It's
Right,
amazing. Um,
but a lot of I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but a lot of
no,
those arrangements are hers.
okay,
She's the genius, man. She knows music on a different level,
yeah,
and so she's like, I know that's the chord, but what else could you do? Like, add something in there, add a ninth in it. Oh, she's with it. Like she's with it all. So she's like, make it bright, make it beautiful. So
yeah.
a lot of those arrangements come from her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's amazing to also because I mean, having worked with a lot of high level artists, that it's not always that way. That's very often like a separation between the artist and the band, and you like maybe don't even talk. But
Oh
it
yeah.
sounds like it's the exact opposite.
Right. Absolutely. No,
That's
she's very much involved in everything, to the
nice.
voicings, to the extra tension chords in there. She wants to hear it all. So
Yeah.
she knows she'll be like, that's too bland. Add a tension in it. Or that's too much. Take away the tension. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's very much involved in all of that. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
yes,
I
sir.
know at the Roots Picnic too, there was a mini Fugees reunion.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
that's incredible.
We've been waiting for that to happen for a long time because
Yeah.
we planned the tour maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. We had a tour planned, and for obvious reasons, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Some situations were at play, so we couldn't make it happen officially. But just to see them back on stage together, man, that was amazing. And that might be the last time we see all three of them together for
Yeah.
a while. You know.
Yeah. That's amazing though. That's so cool to be part of that moment. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like you're saying with like, you know, growing up on the music, but then and then she's calling you out, but this is like another version of that. That's
Right.
another level. That's crazy.
And she didn't know. We knew Clef would be there, but we didn't know Pras was coming.
Oh, okay.
So he was a legit surprise. Like, we didn't know that he was coming at all.
Yeah.
We had mics prepared for Clef. He was in sound check and everything, but Pras coming was a legit surprise. Like,
That's amazing.
we had no clue.
Because you and I have talked previously about rehearsal stuff. So
Yes,
what
sir.
does preparation, and it sounded very thorough for sure. And then
Hmm.
what you're saying with her knowing what she wants.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just curious, like in prepping for, I don't know if you haven't started rehearsals for this yet, but like the run that you're on now, like what does preparation look like for that? Because I know on a level that high, like,
Right.
and especially with her, like preparation is the name of the
Oh,
game.
preparation has to be, because on the fly, she can pull out a song. Like right now, we're only doing Miseducation because it's the 25th anniversary. But
Yeah,
she might pull out a Fuji song. Strumming My
yeah,
Pain with His Fingers is a Fuji song.
yeah.
Um, uh, what's another song? But a lot of songs that she's mainly known for are Fuji songs. So she
Yeah,
might pull one of those out at a show. So you never know. You never
yeah.
know. Preparation for Miss Hill, we rehearse year round. Let me
Mm,
just put that out there. We're rehearsing every at least 3 to 4 days a week all year.
wow. Even if
Literally.
there's nothing on the calendar.
Even if there's nothing on the calendar, we're rehearsing. We're tightening something up, or we're working on new music.
Yeah, that's
Honestly, we rehearse year round. So, because she wants it to be, she wants to feel to be like we've been playing the show for years. So even
wow.
if we have a show, so say we have a show in September, we'll start rehearsing in June, just to be
Wow.
so tight
Yeah,
that it's we're not even thinking when we're playing the show. It's just
yeah.
all energy and positive. She's heavy on the energy and bringing positive vibes to the audience, um, to where she even studies what chords bring positive vibes to audiences. So we'll
Oh,
include those chords into a song specifically. You know,
wow.
like, yeah, she's.
But I have to ask, what is an example of that chord? I'm very curious now.
So she did a study on ninths, minor ninths, and
Uh,
she found out that a minor ninth is a positive chord. It brings a feeling, it brings a vibe, it brings energy. So she'll be like, put a minor knife in there. It's a
wow.
joke we say now, because she'll tell us to throw a minor knife over every chord. We'll be like, Miss Hill, that doesn't work, okay? But you know, she'd be like, no, let me hear it anyway. I want to hear what it sounds like. Then she'd be like, oh no,
Yeah.
that's terrible. So you're right, though, Joe. But to the point where we'll include these chords specifically for certain songs because we want a certain energy to happen for that song. So she's
Yeah.
very she's very much into giving an amazing show to each audience. And she doesn't want to play the same show at all. Like
Yeah.
she'll change something. She'll be like,
Yeah.
I'll put this on here and put this on here because she doesn't want to give the same show off to every audience. She wants each audience to have a tailor-made show for them.
That's amazing. I mean, that's hard to do, which is why you have to rehearse so much,
Yes,
or
absolutely.
that's the benefit of rehearsing so much is that you can do this. But I mean, that's incredible for the audience that it's a unique experience every time. But then also, I'm sure for you, you get to actually use your musical brain and not just be like, okay, here's the thing again, here's this thing, but you're like
Right.
on your toes a little bit, like where's this going to go, and then
Seriously.
you know, all your years of training you get to actually use.
Absolutely, man. And it's definitely amazing, man. We have 6 keyboard players, bro. So
Okay, so I was going to ask you about this because I was looking through your Instagram and like, you're like, hey, Mexico City was amazing, and it's like a pan across,
uh-huh.
and all I see is keyboards, and
Yes.
I'm like, I see like 4 in your station, but then there's like another station with another 4, and so you said 6 keyboard players.
6. There are 6 right now, currently.
What
We
is
just
the
did it.
what? How? How? How is it working
I I want to put it out there. I hate it, but
that?
we somehow make it work. I don't know how we make it work, but we somehow make it work. Um, it pretty much goes like this. All right. When I first came in, it was just me and Jules. Jules is her musical director, and um, she wanted to do some more sound designing happening. So we
Yeah.
brought in a guy named Dan. He designed sounds with Yamaha, and
Oh, so like entirely custom sounds.
yeah, absolutely. He
Not,
actually
not
does sound
that-
design for the montage and a lot of those keyboards that you hear. That's him doing a lot of sound design for that stuff.
okay, so we're not tweaking existing keyboards. It's sounds that have literally never been heard before.
Yeah, we're starting at zero.
Wow.
We're starting at a sign, and then we're going to beyond. So
Yeah.
we brought him in to do that, and he started adding to the show. He started adding some parts to the show, and she was like, "Okay, Dan, I see you." And
He's
so
adding the
we,
minor ninth on top. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it's 3. It's 3 now, and so he couldn't make a rehearsal, so he brought in a guy to fill in for him, and then this guy Sam started doing some stuff and adding to the show too. So it was like, okay. And so we got to rehearsal. Dan was there, and Sam was still there. So I'm like, okay, that's 4. It's 4 now. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then I couldn't do a rehearsal, and so when I came back from whatever I was doing, I came back, and the guy who was filling in for me was still there, and so there was 5. And then uh, Dan left for a little bit. I think he had to do a tour or something, and his fill-in filled in, and Dan came back,
That's
and there were 6.
and somehow it works. That's amazing.
It somehow works, man. It's like the Lauryn Hill orchestra now, keyboard
Seriously.
orchestra, symphony orchestra,
Seriously. And
symphony
then
orchestra.
because yeah, like look at your Instagram, it's just like a sea of keyboards.
Yeah,
So you got like what, 4 in your setup?
I have 4, and I use them all literally.
Does does
She makes
it do
sure
all the other 5 keyboard players also have 4 keyboards?
they all have at least 2 or 3.
The backline must be just through the roof.
Oh yeah.
Keyboard.
For sound check, first of all, we have to sound check the day before a show.
Wow.
We have to, because just getting inputs alone, it's more,
Yeah.
maybe like 200 inputs.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
And
if you're running stereo on all those
stereo
keyboards.
stereo on everything, and then there's a horn section, an 8-piece horn section.
Eight
There's
people.
oh
But
yeah,
walk me through the rest of the band.
oh it's full. I'm telling you, we're the orchestra right now. I'm telling you, it's 6 keyboard players, a guitarist, a bassist, a drummer, a percussionist, a full string section. So maybe 10 people on strings, 8 people on horns, 3 backgrounds, hype mics, hype guys. It's a full in depth situation.
That's insane. And is that
Yeah,
did every one of those people you just mentioned come to rehearsal, like strings and horns and everything?
absolutely. They have to.
Oh my gosh, that's
They have
insane.
to. Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
But we bring strings in closer to the shows.
yeah,
So year round they're not rehearsing, but
gotcha. But closer to the shows, yeah.
yeah, and it's
That's
they're not on every show, but right now they're doing every show.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, yeah, you
it's a
could
lot.
do it.
It's
Do it up
definitely a
big.
lot.
That's
Yeah,
wild.
it's a lot. It's a lot of sound coming at people. Just a lot of stuff. I try to get out of parts all the time. I'm like, you know what? I don't need to do something right here. You know, I could just dance. I
Yeah,
could just dance. You know, do some moves, but I don't need to play right here.
yeah. Wow, that's wild. I love that. Yeah, she's pulling out all the stops like
Yeah,
that, and taking it so seriously
absolutely.
now. Because I mean, uh, the common criticism is like, she's got the one album, and
Mm,
she got the Fugees, like never did a follow up album,
right.
but it feels like I said, as soon as she starts singing, like you're right back to it, and she's got it. But then, if she's surrounded by this unbelievable show,
Yeah.
that's
Yes, sir.
you can't. That's amazing. That's its own proof that she's still got it. That's
Yeah. No, I'll just say this: she never stopped writing. She never stopped recording, and she never stopped writing.
that's awesome though, and I'm so happy to hear that, because it feels like a similar thing like with D'Angelo with Voodoo, because he didn't have
Yes.
anything for a long time after, and
Right.
then Black Messiah was worth the wait. It
Absolutely.
feels like you could do a similar thing, and especially if she's like been working this whole time and is not like trying to dust stuff off, but if she's like top form, then that's going to be absolutely incredible music that I
Yes,
feel
sir.
like the world needs right now. Like the music industry needs and the world needs.
We're saying the same exact thing.
Let's go like all the way back.
Yes,
So
sir.
you started playing music at a young age, uh,
Yes.
four or five, somewhere in there.
4 years old. Yeah, I started playing drums in church at 4.
Yeah.
Uh, I know people say that, but I was the main drummer at 4. I wasn't just playing offering. It was a
You
very
were on the gig. Yeah.
yeah. I was the main drummer, and it was a very small church though. It was maybe 30 members, but
Mhm.
the 30 members needed a drummer, so I was the drummer.
Yeah.
The pastor of that church actually played drums as well, but he couldn't play and preach at the same time. So he just said, "You go ahead and do it." And I was okay. I guess I was good enough to hold it down. And then I started getting better. And then around 10 years old, I got into keys.
Yeah.
And then around 15, I got into bass, and then started adding on some other instruments like guitar. I'm not too fluent on guitar. I mean, to a guitar player, they would be like, "Oh, you don't know how to play," but I can track. I can do what I need to do on the track if I
Yeah.
need to.
That's how I feel about guitar players playing bass.
Yeah,
they'll be like,
oh
oh, yeah, I can play bass. I'm like, no, you can't.
no, you know the
They're-
notes, but you don't have the
exactly.
feel. You need a feel for
It's a different.
bass.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you went to Berkeley
Yes,
College of
sir.
Music. Very
Yes,
cool.
sir.
How was that experience?
Berkeley was amazing, man. The year I came in was actually a pretty crazy year for Berkeley. I came in 2008, and my class was Darian Javon, Derek Cobbs, Brandon Macklin, uh, Dwayne Johnson, who you know as what's his name, Mono Neon. Mono
Oh,
Neon was in my class.
yeah.
Uh, Josh Tyson. Our class was crazy. Like we
That
came in super heavy. So
that is crazy. Is
yeah,
that? Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
it was a fun time. We had a lot of sheds, and uh, we made some things happen. We made history at Berkeley. No
Yeah.
one, no one. Usually, they wouldn't let students do the commencement ceremonies, but the year after we started, they started to allow us to do the ceremonies, and we did a Michael Jackson tribute. We did Brandy versus Beyonce. We just started doing all these shows, and then that created a trend. And now I'm sure they're still doing stuff like that there now. But
Yeah.
prior to us being there, it wasn't happening.
That's awesome. That's
Yes,
great.
sir.
Yeah, let's talk about some of your production work. So I see from stuff online, and feel free to add to this, but
Yes, sir.
Rick Ross, her, Christina DeBarge.
Yes, sir.
Um, uh, can you tell me about your production work? Either how some of that happened, or how you got into production, or any other stories kind of around some of the artists I just mentioned.
Absolutely. So at Berkeley, um, I met. Well, I didn't meet them. They were my friends prior to Berkeley. We literally grew up together. But at Berkeley, we all decided, listen, you produce, I produce, you produce. Let's all just come together and just make a trifecta of amazing producers. So we started a group called the Chemistry Producers, and from there we were able to sign a deal maybe a year after we started. So
Hmm.
we maybe signed our first deal in 2010
Okay.
to Sony. It was a major deal. Um, and we upstreamed a lot of artists. An artist named Misa, an artist named Rock Dolo, Angelica. It was a whole bunch of artists that we upstreamed that we wanted to put out there. It was
Yeah.
easy for us to get placements, but we really wanted to put our own sound out, and the only way to do that is to push an artist. You
Yeah.
know, otherwise you have to compromise and do what's out, what's
Yeah.
happening at the time. So we were able to do that, and from Sony we went to Capitol, and then we left Capitol and went back to Sony and ended up in a deal. But we were able to do so much. We did sync licensing, commercials. So we did a lot actually, man.
Yeah.
We did a lot. Not so many placements with artists, but we did a lot of commercial sync licensing stuff like music and commercials and TV.
Yeah.
That the average person wouldn't even think of, but it's
Yeah.
us.
That can be very, very lucrative.
Very,
Um,
very.
yeah. I know a lot of people that's their main thing is placement stuff.
Absolutely, man.
And yeah, that's and honestly too, coming from live performance myself, that's
Hmm.
been my primary thing. Uh, I know so many other live people that are like, I'm trying to get into placement stuff. Like
Right. Yeah.
they want that placement money.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. It's
Yeah.
it's 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 it's, it's the way out for a lot of people. You work one time and you get paid for it residually.
Yeah.
If it's the right commercial, or if it's the
Yeah.
right movie, or it's the right placement, or it's the right artist.
Yeah. tour. So speaking of live stuff, I mean, you've worked with Ms. Hill, Alicia Keys, Tyga, Doja Cat, Pusha T,
Yes,
Future,
sir.
The Weeknd. The list goes on and on and on. Yeah. Well, I mean, so we've talked about Ms. Hill, Alicia Keys. What was your involvement with Alicia Keys?
So Alicia, that was, first of all, that was an amazing event. It was a private event that we played, and I was a part of the band that they put together. Her musical director put together a band, and he specifically called me for the situation, and we played the party, and I was just amazed. We played a whole show. We played her entire show.
Yeah.
Uh, she did a full performance, and I was very young. I was maybe, I had to be like 20 or 19. I was young.
Yeah.
But I was just excited to be there, man. And
Yeah.
to get to meet her and to work with alongside them, it was an amazing situation.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Of some of the artists that I mentioned, Tyga, Doja Cat, Pusha T, Future, The Weeknd,
Yes, sir.
Tonight, Boots, Boogie with a Hoodie, Cardi B, 112, Donnie McClurkin, Ty Tribbett. Like,
Absolutely.
does anything stick out that you're like, oh, I gotta? I mean, because we could be here all day going through
Right.
stories. Does something stick out for like, oh, I got a good story about that with any of those
um,
artists or with something else that you've worked with?
Stick out in a good way or a bad way?
um,
um,
whatever you're most comfortable with sharing.
I'll say, um, hey, I'm trying to think. 112 sticks out to me.
Hmm.
112. I was a huge fan of 112, man.
Yeah.
And how that even started, I was playing for Q Parker at the time. Q Parker is the original member of 112, and he was doing the solo situation. So I was his keyboardist for that, and he knew 112 had a couple shows coming up. So this is what happened. He called us to play for 112, and Darren, one of the members of 112, is a keyboardist. So he
Uh,
came in ready to judge us. So he was like, he came into the rehearsal ready to judge us. He was like, I want to see what y'all got. I want to see what y'all got because I don't know about this. He
yeah.
was looking at Q. Q was like, trust me, man, my guys are good. He was like, all right, we're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Yeah.
So we played the first song of the set, and they all had their arms folded at the top of it. By the end of it, they was like, woo! They was all going crazy. And
Yeah.
so just to gain their respect based off of musicianship only,
Yeah.
like that was just a huge accomplishment for us.
Yeah.
And we were excited to play that show because we all love the music. So it
Yeah.
was literally nostalgic, like being able to play stuff we grew up listening to, and it was just amazing, man. That was a good run with them.
Yeah.
We
That's
did maybe like 6 shows with them, but
okay.
it was a fun time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me about some of the stuff that you do online because I know you got a an online presence for sure.
Yes, sir.
Between YouTube, Instagram. I mean, I also see you post not only like I was saying the um, live performance stuff, but then you've
Hmm.
also got a lot of like good advice stuff for
Yes.
musicians. So tell me about that and like what all you do online with your music and your encouragement and all that.
Absolutely. So mainly, I just want to, help people, man. Honestly, what good is it to showcase how good you are if you're not helping anybody?
Yeah,
So mainly, I had to put the videos out there of me playing to get their attention. Right
yeah,
now that I have their attention, I want to help. You know,
yeah,
I'm in these positions, I'm in these situations, and a lot of people don't hear the backstory behind it, or they don't hear what it takes to get there, or they don't hear anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have any answers to the questions that they already have. So I
Yeah.
try to just think of stuff that people would possibly want to know, or I'll post on my Instagram story, what do you guys want to hear about, or what are some situations that you need help with, and I'll try to find some talking points on it, and I'll record and post some videos of me talking about that, or if it's production, if it's live, if it's just motivation in general.
Yeah.
I try to be a part of that community.
Yeah.
It's really to motivate, honestly. Me playing was just to get their attention, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then now that you're here, let's
Yes,
talk.
sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now
That's
that
great.
you saw this video, maybe check this video out where you can learn how to start a business, or you can learn how to become a touring musician,
Yeah.
or play in church, or what it takes to play in church, or what it takes to be a musical director, what it
Yeah.
takes to do anything, in the music industry. So
Yeah.
I'm
Because,
trying to be helpful.
yeah, a lot of that stuff, there's no place to go to like learn that.
Right.
And
And
so,
yeah, absolutely. And I noticed that was a void online. So I'm like, what could be a niche? Like what can be my go to online that I could literally spearhead and make a lane for? And
yeah.
that was something I realized. And I've been lazy the last couple of months. I just had a baby. I've been on
Yeah, you
tour,
got a
so
lot going on.
it's a
Yeah.
lot happening. But trust me, I've been writing down so many thoughts. I just have to shoot the video. Once
Yeah.
I shoot the videos, I'm good. I'm gonna throw them up. But
Yeah.
there's been a
That's
lot
awesome.
happening lately.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. Well, speaking of, I mean, if you could pass some wisdom on to younger musicians who might see this or kind of look up to you,
Yes, sir.
what would you want to pass on?
Mainly, I would say know what you want, know
Mm.
what you want to do. Coming into this blindly can lead to you doing anything,
Yeah,
and if you don't have a certain standard of what you want to do or know where you want to go, you can very easily get misled and put in the wrong place or in the wrong situation,
yes.
and
I,
regret
yeah,
what you did.
yeah. I can
So
attest to that for sure. Yeah,
absolutely know what you want to do, and once you know what you want to do, focus on that and stick with it. You know
yeah,
that can help you go a long way.
yeah. Because kind of no matter what, like you're going to be working for a while
Yeah,
towards whatever the thing is, and
absolutely.
it's going to feel like you're not making much progress, but that's just kind of how it goes.
Absolutely. With anything, not even
Yeah.
just music, with life in general. That's how
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
LaDerrick Perry, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting. I appreciate the wisdom, the all of the behind the scenes stuff, all of your work. So thank you so much for sitting down and talking. And uh, yes, like you were saying, like bestowing onto the next generation of musicians. Like
Yes, sir.
yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me, man. It was truly amazing. Brandon, you're doing amazing work, bro. You're doing amazing work. So I'm just happy to be a part. Happy to
Thank
be a
you.
part.
Thank you so much.